Hinne Groot is joining us virtually this morning. Hinne, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for being able to join your interesting conference.
Yes. Well, we'd love to learn a little bit more about this initiative of our Secretary of State. Let's start with why. Why did State Secretary Stientje van Veldhoven publish a position paper on international rail passenger transport?
He published this report because it is time to do so, because we are in a situation where we have to make transport more climate friendly, and international rail is particularly beneficial to making transport more climate friendly. In addition, we see that this is an area where the market is not performing so well as we would like to, where you see on comparable distances, domestic or international, the service level on international field is much lower. So why is that? And we would like to raise this issue on the European agenda, and the time is now, because at the European level the thinking is about what should be the follow-up of the Green Deal, what should be the priorities for the European budget, and that's why the State Secretary, I think, decided to launch these ideas early this year.
Well, thank you. We saw in that position paper that it also really starts with this corridor approach, as Wijnand also mentioned. And there was a real focus on a consistent network of connecting European cities. Why is first connecting the big cities so important in her view?
Well, the connecting big cities is in fact just a way to reflect, of course, the transport flows. We believe that the bigger transport flows are between bigger cities, capitals, as you like, and also airports, and connecting those. That we should, as member states together, make sure that there is sufficient service level related to our policies. And if you now see, those service levels are internationally much lower. If I go from Amsterdam to Maastricht, I have much better service level in terms of frequencies than compared to if I want to go from Amsterdam to Düsseldorf or Cologne. And why is that? If we are talking about comparable sizes of cities.
Yeah.
So we look at transport flows, and there should be a task of member states to make sure that the market can really do its work here.
Exactly. Now, what was noticeable is that this position paper that was published in February this year was relatively quickly followed by a political statement from the same Secretary of State. What was this political statement about?
Well, the intention was of the position paper already to work together at European level. We recognize that improving international rail passenger transport is a matter of working together as countries, member states, and infrastructure managers and all the players, but it also deserves a place on the European agenda. European agenda means regulatory framework, innovation, priorities, resources, perhaps. And to reflect that, we have to work at both levels, both between member states and at European level. The intention was to develop a political statement. I think the statement is really reflecting this purpose, to highlight the importance to put this on the European agenda, plus to work together as member states on the issue. So not only asking, but also working together.
Mm-hmm. And what can you already say about the first reactions of other member states to this idea when it was presented to them?
We had positive reactions from our colleagues of member states. Many recognized, I think, the problems of developing international passenger services. To develop new services is giving much more work in the government offices than developing national services. Work has to be done on interoperability, infrastructure, capacity allocation, and so on. So many recognize this issue, but also recognize that it is the time to address it now. And that so we got a lot of support from the start on, and we are having of course discussions with our at our expert level with other ministries, and so in the month of April and May we had good discussions, and the idea was well supported that we should work together on that and to develop a European a more profound European agenda, and therefore to include also the European institutions as much as possible, Commission, Railway Agency, Shift to Rail, OTIF, etc. That to do that from the start on, that was recognized by everybody.
Right, so you can report that there seems to be quite some momentum on the political level. Let's look a little bit more at the how also. In the political statement, the signatories decided to establish a platform. Well, if there's a word that can mean anything, what is a platform? Can you a little bit explain what they were thinking about when they referred to this?
Platform is meant as an expression of cooperation between member states, but also an expression to cooperate with the European institutions. It's not a formal European Union institution, clear enough, but we recognize really the cooperation. So what's now being done, we are setting up the platform with our member states colleagues, and that we try to define what should be the first priorities of the platform in terms of results, in terms of international agenda. And in addition, the platform can, from our point of view, only work if we found, let's say, also our colleagues from the sector side working together in this direction. So we want to agree with them the best agenda. Mm-hmm. And what is more, the platform can also be useful as a continuous political momentum where we also try to work very closely together with all the EU presidencies, because they have really also the competence to bring it at a higher political level from time to time.
Yeah, so it's a place where this momentum can establish, can find a process, can keep progressing. What do you see as some of the first steps aimed at the cooperation in the platform?
Well, the first steps should be to identify our first priorities. So that could be what are really the issues to improve passenger information and passenger booking systems. What is really the European agenda behind that? We know there are already actions, but how can we really accelerate that? That could be, I think that is widely shared. I think another one which could be on the platform is indeed what are the framework conditions to develop night trains in Europe. That is also widely shared. And that can come from different perspectives. Are there barriers to the rolling stock market, or are there labor laws barriers, or whatever? We can address that. And also the how to use the public service contracts instrument cross-border. That was also raised by a considerable number of colleagues as an important issue. This does not need to be the solution per se, but at least people say it is a very important question. How can we accelerate developments in international rail?
All right.
So we will define in our platform the priorities, and we try to deliver this within also the time frame of the year of rail, which we expect next year.
All right. Well, thank you for elaborating on this, Hinne Groot from the Dutch Ministry of Infrastructure and Water Management. We'll take your words and message and we'll reflect on that together with us here in the studio and our viewers. Thank you for now and thank you for your time being with us.
Thanks a lot.
So Jeroen Wijnand, I also raised this question with our audience right now via the poll, but let me start with you. What words come to mind when you listen to this initiative by the ministry?
No, I think it's clearly this momentum. It's happening. People are discussing it, but I'm let's get going. Let's do something, right? I mean, there's still trains waiting for 10 minutes on stations, international trains that cannot go through because the paths are not aligned.
Exactly.
And so, let's get to work.
It's interesting. Some of our first responses we get from you as a viewer is indeed progress on paper, more urgency needed. On the other side, okay, willingness, but modest. Some people say agenda starting up, so hurry up, someone writes. So there needs to be more momentum. No. This is live from our audience. Wijnand, what comes to mind when you listen to this?
So I see that there's on a European level the slow progress, and people see that it's needed to be done. So I think that partly that's where that corridor approach comes in, and slicing and dicing that. So you need that platform, yes, that's clear. But at the same time, there are things that you can do right now when you can start off with to, on specific links and routes, develop international services swiftly.
Yeah, so we should be working on parallel tracks. Pun
yes.
intended. Yeah,
pun
in the
intended,
context.
I guess.
Yes. Okay.